Alright. Skull to all my brothers and sisters. So, today we are going to be talking about the hydrometer. Now, before I go into details on this hydrometer, a lot of people have been asking me, oh, I bought this kit and all this shit, and it came with a hydrometer, and I don't have a freaking clue how to use it. So, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure on how to use this, but the way that I use this is what we're going to talk about today. Now, you do not need a hydrometer to make meat, okay? But it is a great tool to know where your meat is at and what your alcohol content is. So the ideal is this is going to measure the amount of sugars, because the more sugars that you add to your water, the more condensed that it's going to be, so the more this is going to raise up. And so we'll start talking about that. Now, back in the ancient days, they didn't have this, and they didn't even know what yeast was. Now, from the experience that I have found that yeast makes a world of a difference on a taste. Okay? So we're not really using this for taste purposes. We're using this to figure out how much alcohol we can produce from our mead and how much alcohol is actually in our mead. So with that being said, what we want to look for is the approximate potential alcohol by volume. So if we take a vessel and we put our vessel in there, there's nothing. So there's absolutely nothing. But if we add a good distilled water, this is pure water. There should be no contaminants in it. And that thing's going to circle up and kind of bounce in there. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to spin this and give it a good spin. And what we're going to do is look at the level. Now, I have already took a picture, so hopefully if my editing works out great, you can actually take a look and see what is going on here. So the level should be at 0 if we have pure water. Once we start adding sugars, this is going to raise. So once we start brewing, making our brew, whatever it is, beer, wine, all we're going to do is measure the sugar, and we're going to look at the approximacy of what it can do. Now, let's just say that we're at 15%, and we want a mead to be more like 18. Then we're going to add a little bit more sugars and starches, so we're going to add a little bit more honey. So with that being said, it's going to make it a little bit sweeter on the taste. And if we want to go down to 6%, then we don't put as much sugars in there. And this will give us a good indication of what it can do. Not what it is, what it can do. Okay? So 0% sugars, 0% alcohol. Just water. Now, I also have an elderberry that I brewed for Facebook before I got on to Mead, and I'm going to steal a picture from there and show you right here. Without looking at the picture, I believe that the elderberry was 18%. So we want to take that measurement of 18% and we want to distract that number from where it is. So right now I have a glass of the elderberry. And when we originally brewed this, I took the measurement and it was at 18%. So now we're going to pour it back into our vessel, just a sample. I already measured this, so I don't have to look. And we're going to put a hydrometer in there. We're going to give it a nice little spin. And we're going to look in here and we're going to see that we are actually at about 2% to still go. Okay? So what that means is if we started at 18% sugars, then the yeast has eaten almost all the sugars that it can eat. Okay? So right now, this would technically be 18 minus 2, because that's about where we are now, 16%. So now that we let it wait or age a little bit longer, we're going to get it down to the 0, which would mean that it would be 18%. It's about that simple. You don't have to make it all complicated. Now, if you want to get into like the 18.2% or 18 or the 0.2s, there is a more specific getting down to it tool, but that is also a lot more expensive. This hydrometer, I believe I paid maybe 10, no more than $20 on eBay. Again, you don't have to have it, but it is a good tool to have. Now, with that being said, I'm going to take our tool back out and sterilize it. Dump that back into here. I'm going to save that for the wife because this is her elderberry that I'm drinking. And we're going to take our peach. Now, the peach is actually one that I did, again, for Facebook. This is our Facebook Pride and Joy. And the honey that I used is going to be from a gentleman named Scott Maxwell. And he is on both Facebook and MeWe page. And this is the most localist honey that I can get. And it's pretty damn tasty. Now, when I originally tasted this honey, I was like, man, it's got like a butter taste to it. So I decided to go ahead and add some peaches, because who the hell doesn't like peach cobbler, right? So this is going to be the sample that I took from that. And we're going to go ahead and put our hydrometer in there, and we're going to spin it. And we are putting picture up right here so you can actually see. We are at 0%. Now, unfortunately, before I filmed, my kids broke my hydrometer, and we couldn't take a measurement of this. So, estimating about from experience, I'm going to say that this was started at 14%, and now that we're down to 0, we're at 14%. So it's simple math there. Now, if this was at 5% right now, then we would take the 14 from our original gravity reading and minus what it's at now. For it, so it would be 14 minus 5, which would be 9% alcohol. It's that simple, guys. You don't need the tool, but it is a tool that you can use. Now, I really enjoy doing these Mead pages, MeWe videos, Facebook. With all that being said, I have learned quite a bit from you guys.